6 Minutes Season 5. The Season of Unknowingness. The final chapter of the 6 Minute sequel.
There are kids in this world who are different. Special.
One of them found us.
And became family.
But her time ran out. And now, that girl is missing.
In this episode, I'll be breaking down the latest episode, 6 Minutes Season 5, piece by piece. Hey Review Pop listeners, it's your Landon Mueller. We're here today talking about episode 16 of 6 Minute Season 5, and, overall I really enjoyed this episode. I thought there was a lot it did really, exceptionally well, just with, the dynamics between Brynleigh and Cyrus, of course, and, the continuation of the Whittier Corp Halloween party. I thought it was really fun, and, I have to mention Magnus. He's really great, really himself. And I think, that's always something I love to see, just with him, being himself, being that great, comically, funny Magnus that we always get to see. Yeah, I think there's a lot, set up, a lot of great callbacks, to season 3 especially. So without further ado, let's get straight into this one.
This is not funny, you freak!
Maybe not for you, but I'm having an icy blast!
Who are you?
And how are you doing this?
And why are you doing this?
You shouldn't have come here.
The fools are going to crush us!
Gosh, this is so perfect, and like I said in the intro, that comical villain from Magnus here, and, just him saying very funny things. He says, ice baby after this, which is awesome. I just always love him being himself, and it's great that, that's carried through all the seasons, right? I remember in season 2, just him being that comical villain that we've come to love. And, he also has that anger in his voice. I think he really just projects very well. But yeah, absolutely. I love, Brynleigh's nervousness here, and, there's a lot of space in Magnus's voice. We can just really feel the room, but also the showcase of Magnus's powers and how he uses his, new fire powers and, just everything that it sets up.
Look! That wall! It's starting to melt!
It's like a beam of electricity or something.
Electricity?
What?
Nothing. The hole's still too small to climb through.
Make it bigger! I think I'll be able to squeeze through!
I said I'm working on it!
Maybe don't insult them?
Whatever, they tried to kill us!
I think it's interesting whenever, fans are let in on a secret and, we're just, kind of guessing and waiting to figure out when they finally realize that, who Casey is, that, even though she's been helping them, at the same time, she's also been lying to them. And so I think it'll be really interesting to see how that reveal's done, how it affects Cyrus, whether or not he'll be, just really upset by that, and whether he'll be able to forgive her or not. I think there's a lot there, and I'm really looking forward to just that reveal and how it'll be done, and, whether or not Casey teams up with Cyrus and Brynleigh. But overall, so many things are so great. I also have to point out, I love how Casey's powers are being used, in just the sense that, we always see her doing new things with her powers, the electricity, and I think it's interesting to kind of visualize that in your head and think, what does that even look like?
Here, chug some energy drink. You look a little depleted.
147 CD? What happened?
I just found you this way. Flat on your back, passed out cold. Very cold. You really don't remember anything?
It sets up a lot, with Casey and Magnus, and them kind of relying on each other as siblings in a sort of way, because we see Magnus, getting upset with Casey in the previous episode, but at the same time, Casey coming to Magnus's aid and, them treating each other like siblings, because, what kids at the end of the day really are siblings, right? They're very close. I think it'll be interesting to see how their relationship furthers in the Casey books. We've kind of heard David Kreisman kind of talk about, their relationship, and, I think it'll be really interesting to see them working together, but at the same time, there's that conflict of interest, right? Because Casey wants to take care of her friends. However, I just really enjoy, the energy drink, and, I can definitely picture Magnus drinking energy drinks, but overall, really well done. Also great music.
Who are those two on the other side of the glass? Let's see, how do I turn on the sound from inside the lab room?
I need you to focus.
Is that kid trying to...
You're almost there. It is happening. You just need to better control it. Control yourself.
Oh boy.
Like this.
So I was really intrigued by this in the sense that, there's kind of an auditorium in Whittier Corp, and, because in season 3, I think it was like a memorial hall or something, I don't know. So I think it's really interesting to see how this is how she discovers, that Penn's behind it all. I also have so many questions as to, is Penn doing this at his own will, right? Does he like doing this with his mom, or is his mom forcing this upon him, and does he feel kind of mistreated by his mom? That's kind of an arc for, Penn, is him getting his freedom in a previous season, but just the fact that, his mom may be controlling him again, and we can definitely relate that to what happened with Angel in Cyrus the Lost Tapes.
Do you really think I have friends?
I think you're trying real hard to downplay this in the hopes I'll drop it. Sadly, I won't. I'm going to find your nosy friends, and this time, they're ending up on ice.
Yeah, can't let you do that. Hey, I'm getting good at this.
The fact that, Magnus has so much outrage against the Anders, I think it's really interesting, right? We started off the season with this idea that some things are the same and some things are different. One thing that's definitely the same is, Magnus's hatred towards the Anders family, and the fact that, he doesn't like Cyrus, he doesn't like Brynleigh. That's carried through all the seasons, so he has this real hatred of them, and it'll be really interesting to see how that plays into season 5 of, what's gonna happen to Brynleigh and Cyrus. The fact that Casey's coming to their aid is really awesome. Casey obviously wants to help her friends, but she's put in the middle of a situation where she has to choose between kind of, Whittier Corp, which she's been forced to grow up in this system, but she also has friends that she really loves and, wants to take care of.
Get it? 'Cause your lips are. Yeah, so what's new with you?
Casey, your hands are lighting up.
Huh.
Gosh, I thought this moment was done very, very well. That kind of moment of reveal in a sort of way. And, it's very similar to season 1, where Cyrus kind of discovers her identity in the gym. And, he has to be, at this point, highly suspicious of Casey in the sense that, her hands are lighting up and, he's seeing her powers and, what does that all mean? And, will she be truthful with him? I think it's really interesting seeing her kind of try and cover up and, be very awkward. And, it's very uncharacteristic of her, but it reminds me of kind of how she reacted after, she was exposed to Cyrus for being the Whittier spy in season 1.
Something's happening in the water.
Holiday! This is it!
This is what?
If I'm not mistaken, this could be our way out of nowhere.
and back home.
Right, so I love Jess's prediction about this. She had predicted that, yes, they will make it back to 2025. However, what happens after that, right? I don't think Brynleigh will really accept Jude, but at the same time, she doesn't know who Jude is. Thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoy the show, please leave a 5-star review. Until next time, this is Landon saying peace, love, and time travel.